Hello, this is the 2025 edition of the Creative Outlet Portland.org Writers Roundtable. This time we hear a selection from Patrick Howard's soon-to-be-published new novel, The Integrity Line.
The Integrity Line by Patrick Howard. Chapter 1. Bacon. 3 months earlier. Gretchen was due at 8 sharp, and I was amped and ready. It was Thursday, and it had already been a long week. So much shit flowed through HR, I wondered what would be served up this morning. Last week, a doc had stolen someone's login to forge an Adderall script for herself. The week before, a CV full of lies had carried a new hire into a 6-figure position, caught but not soon enough to avoid an ugly termination. Today my money was on another sexual misconduct claim. Sex, that's what we dealt with most days. My job, make Gretchen look good, always. Boy Friday, dependable and true, that was me. Shadow her at every meeting, get her there on time. Scribe faithfully, follow up diligently, circle back gracefully, and close loops tightly. A glorified gopher, but a damn good one. At least it gave me bragging rights over Mariam. I bounded up the stairs 2 at a time, avoiding the idle chit-chat I might encounter in the elevator, and slipped into the crowded cafeteria. Since the C-suite had moved to the floor below, the once quotidian place had been rebuilt, given a silly new name, the Loft Bistro, and a touch of elegance. Hand-rendered menu boards beckoned you in to watch the same old cooks, now wearing clean white coats and stovepipe chef hats, prepare new robust offerings. Roasted asparagus and broccolini enjoyed a sudden renaissance, while ficus trees thrived under artificial light. Ernesto was at the grill making his legendary omelets. His face glowed with pride and a patina of sweat as he served the daily queue of delighted followers. Today, 9 deep. I surveyed the offerings at the grab-and-go table, universally dubbed the get-your-ass-back-to-work table. The bacon looked good, lined up in neat glistening rows, crisp but flexible, sturdy, a perfect balance of muscle and flab. Model Savalient employees. In a sad attempt at paleo, I helped myself to a half-dozen strips. I had scarfed down half of them before the checkout line got to Lori. I confessed my sin to her. "I know, darling, I saw you," she chirped with a smile, further consolidating her place as the most beloved cashier ever. She usually gave us a deal on lunch if the portions looked a little skimpy. I worshipped her. I descended the stairs and wolfed down the last of the bacon, my lips working it into my mouth from the little paper plate. Back in the office, I took a leak, checked my teeth for bits of breakfast, and finished stapling today's handouts. I noticed a greasy fingerprint on one copy and kept that one for myself. The boss arrived at 7:59, wearing her beige suit and carrying a 20-ounce skinny latte, confirming it would be a tough day. We would spend most of our time in meetings at some remote corner of campus or in her private office. Her private meetings were the best and the worst. Plenty to sink your teeth into, but so disheartening, fraught with regret, accusations, tears, and a good measure of cluelessness. They deserve their own trigger warning. The content of this meeting may be disturbing to some attendees. "Good morning, Jay," she said with a smile. I hated the name, despised the sound of it, preferring the full Jeremy to the monosyllabic nickname which I'd learned in grade school, rhymed with so many words that could be strung together in nasty little couplets and limericks. But one afternoon she just said it, and stupidly I responded. She had a nickname for everyone. Mariam was Mar, Bryn Pritchard was BP, Kate Armstrong was Hateful Kate, or simply HK. Nicknames were Gretchen's attempt to humanize herself. She was known on campus as a real hard-ass, blunt, and a little coarse. She would regularly shock a room of stiffs out of their post-lunch lassitude with a snarky comment, anatomic reference, or tactically delivered F-bomb. She had little tolerance for human eccentricity beyond what was required by law or org policy, but grudgingly hewed to the company line regardless of her personal opinions. She was undeniably honest and fair and could be trusted to give you the straight skinny, along with some sage advice you could either follow or stubbornly ignore at your own peril. Gretchen took her seat and scanned today's packet as Brindlin Pritchard arrived, wearing a tailored light blue knit jacket, black dress capris, and patent leather pumps. She went straight for the coffee. "Counselor," Gretchen said with casual camaraderie, "don't you look smart today?" We'd seen a lot of Bryn lately. The real world had finally infiltrated Savalient, and she was our go-to for all matters legal, helping manage the inevitable fallout from newly afforded workplace protections. Now every careless peccadillo or egregious offense triggered a mandatory procedure so convoluted, so arcane, you needed an attorney to navigate the maze. That was Bryn. She often needed to remind overwrought departments they could not simply demand someone empty their desk and be out by 5 like the good old days. You'll get your hand slapped for sure. We were generous with our time and wisdom, thus sealing our own fate. Now, at the first hint of any local dispute, shit defied gravity by inexorably rolling uphill to our doorstep. "Miss Linderman," Bryn nodded with mock formality, "how are you this beautiful morning? Ready for another day in paradise?" "Is it Friday yet?" Bryn laughed. "No, dear. It's only Thursday." "Damn. Then can we please make this no-issue Thursday?" "Sorry, love. We already had no-issue Tuesday. You can only have one day a week." "Just get me through the next 2 days," she groaned, and informed us she would be leaving a couple hours early tomorrow for a kayaking trip with her partner Carl. "A long weekend with no cell service. I cannot wait." "Sounds nice," said Bryn, "but you couldn't get me on one of those little boats." "Controlled chaos, my friend. You're good at that. Half of it's learning what to do after you fall out of the boat." "No, thank you." "I'll get you out there someday. You watch. You will love it. Anyway, I see we have some of our own chaos to attend to." Bryn summarized the first case before us, conveyed anonymously through the integrity hotline. A white coworker had witnessed something that disturbed her deeply. At a recent meeting of the quality assurance team, she'd watched a white male physician admonish a young black colleague after he'd made a comment he disagreed with. At the close of the meeting, he again dressed down the younger man, with both ultimately reconciling, then patted him on the head and left. It was like he was petting a dog, she'd reported. His hand lingered there in a most disrespectful manner, squishing and squeezing his natural black hair. The young black man just smiled and said nothing, gathered his things and walked out, and just like that, the incident was over. The witness was not sure how to react. It had all happened so fast. But she was sure this represented, at a minimum, disrespect in the workplace, an unwanted violation of the man's personal space, and at worst, a condescending, blatantly racist act. It made her very uncomfortable. She wanted to say something right then. Comfort the wounded party, scold the offender, but could not, instead opting for the hotline. "Of course she couldn't, the coward," said Gretchen, shaking her head. "I see she names names." She recognized both men. "No surprise here. Ted's always been an overbearing prick," she offered, referring to Ted Donnelly, a senior nephrologist in internal medicine. "He's opinionated and flippant. Till now, he'd never been accused of racism. He'll attack anyone he thinks is beneath him, essentially everyone." The disgraced black man was Michael Jesse M.J. Turner, a mid-career cardiothoracic surgeon, handsome, easygoing, a beloved clinician and respected scientist who had precociously ascended the promotion ladder. MJ epitomized what the PR team called the new Savalient. His face could be seen daily on local billboards and TV spots, walking through the halls, comforting patients, and making critical decisions in his spiffy white coat. Gretchen knew all this without any prep or prompting from us. It was a gift that made her the perfect head of HR. She knew everything about everybody at Savalient. Their pedigrees and qualifications, of course, but also their public personae, proclivities, foibles, and much of their private lives. She knew, for instance, that Ted had been through 2 divorces and was working on a 3rd, and that MJ was happily married to Donna Wu, another Savalient surgeon who was about to take maternity leave. So what are we supposed to do with this information, Bryn? What exactly is our role here? Well, Dawn over in medicine asked me to have a look. I told her to work directly with the integrity office on this one, but she said they'd be more comfortable with us taking it. They've been trying to fire Ted Donnelly for years, but so far haven't found a way to do it. She was hoping that something from a neutral corner like HR might be good ammunition to get the ball rolling. Oh, great, said Gretchen. So now we're carrying the bag for a weak department on what'll probably be an illegal termination. You want me to kick it back to integrity? The thought police? No, please don't. Those guys are such pains in the ass. Let's keep it here for now. What about the good doctors Donnelly and Turner? Do we have their side of the story? Not yet. As far as they're concerned, there is no story. We'd be blindsiding them with this. What about the offended party, the one who just sat there on her ass and wished she'd said something, but of course didn't? Can we talk to her some more? People have a right to face their accusers, right? Nope, cautioned Bryn. Technically, she's a whistleblower, so her anonymity is protected. See, this is exactly why I hate that fucking hotline. We should never have opened that thing up. The hotline story, if true, was appalling. We'd seen many of these boundary violations lately. Ted Donnelly wasn't the only knuckle-dragger at Savalient. Far from an outlier, he had become the de facto role model for a cadre of middle-aged white guys who wanted to keep things a certain way. New corporate strategies fostering equity, inclusion, diversity, and access had triggered a cataclysmic cultural shift at Savalient. We were asked, required, to celebrate our differences, bring our authentic selves to the workplace, and append our security badges with preferred pronouns. Mine, for the record, are he, him, his. The leadership missed no occasion to publicly hail the new policies as visionary. But just below the surface, the thing that actually mattered, the culture, moved at glacial speed. The senior staff was still 80% white males, most of whom had come of age in the 70s. Their moral roots coursed back to the late 50s or early 60s, the Brooks Brothers 60s, not the hippie 60s. Respect in the workplace was an uncomfortable add-on for them, definitely not in their DNA. Real change would rely on the M.J. Turners and those behind them, for whom all our lofty language and exacting policies were simply the new normal. As the two realities clashed, the roiling interface yielded daily reports of sexual innuendo, lewd language, inappropriate touching, off-handed race-baiting, veiled misogyny, perceived microaggressions, and a phenomenon we came to know and loathe, unconscious bias. Gretchen's job was to bridge these two worlds. The same vintage as Ted Donnelly and a traditionalist to her core, but duty-bound to uphold the highest principles of the institution, irrespective of her own feelings. As a woman, she'd also witnessed what true abuse of power looked like, how insidious and corrosive it could be. Jay, can you please schedule meetings with these two gentlemen in my office ASAP? Turner first. I saw this coming. Done. I've already emailed them and set up a doodle poll. Include me, said Brindlin. Of course. Okay, she said, thumbing through the packet. What else we got? Nothing to worry yourself about, said Gretchen. We can take care of all this other crap on our own. But I just caught wind of something brewing down in nutrition service, she said with a little too much enthusiasm. It's fresh, and it's a doozy. I fear we'll be dealing with another gender discrimination case soon. Bingo, I thought. Renee Garza gave me a heads up. A male kitchen worker just accused his female boss of passing him over for a merit increase, while she bumped the pay of every woman on the crew. None of the men got an increase, actually. She's claiming gender discrimination. That is fresh. Man bites dog, as they say. Not impossible, I suppose, but I haven't seen it here. So she showed favoritism toward her female staff. That's the whole beef? There's no sexual stuff? Oh, but there is. He claims the lady boss made untoward remarks about a male co-worker's big arms and tight butt. Bryn blurted out a chuckle that almost sprayed us with coffee. Joking around, probably, but spoken in the aggrieved's presence. He says he felt demeaned and belittled. Oh, Lord. I know, right? But I'm puzzled, not blaming the victim, mind you. But I wonder, what did he do to piss her off? I mean, is he on probation? Was he disciplined for something and is trying to wiggle out of it? That, my friend, is the dictionary definition of victim blaming. Which is why I'm so lucky to have you in my corner to show me the righteous path. You are lucky indeed. We'll have to hear him out, the full sordid saga without prejudice. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. But I have a hunch there's more here than meets the eye. I can see at least 4 sides to this story. You go right ahead, do your detective work. You'll keep me posted? Let me know when it becomes official. So far you know everything I know, but we'll get to the bottom of things. Anything for me, ma'am? I asked. Shall I call Ms. Garza on your behalf and get some names, then pull the personnel files of the complainant and his immediate boss, plus maybe the tight buns guy and a few of the female line workers? That's why I love you, Jay. You can read my mind. Plus he makes the best coffee, said Bryn, as she pumped another cup for the road. Are we done here? Yes, I'm happy to say. Good. I've got to go meet with a bunch of lawyers about a bogus disability case. She headed toward the door. Let me walk with you, dear. Jay, have you got everything you need? Yep. Your next meeting is in 20 minutes, HK's office. I'll meet you there. Gretchen and Bryn walked out in close step, heads together, speaking in conspiratorial whispers. I shot off an email to Renee. She and I were tight. I knew she'd give me the real 411. I didn't know anyone in the cafeteria crew was particularly disgruntled, no more than anyone else at Savalient. We all felt put upon to some degree. Dear God, I prayed, let it not be Ernesto. It couldn't be him, I thought. Busily working at his station, so full of joy, so calm and imperturbable. Hardly the complaint-lodging type. If anyone deserved a raise and a promotion, it was him. I hoped he never got one, though. Who would make the omelets? Kate Armstrong's office was a 5-minute walk across campus. I grabbed my laptop and tore out the door.
Join us again for another edition of the Writers' Roundtable. The Writers' Roundtable is a project of the creative outlet Portland.org.